was the lowliest news gimp in the entire TV3 operation. I was there on launch night, November the 27th, 1989, straight out of tech, in this brand new TV channel, you know, the biggest thing that had happened in New Zealand broadcasting for a very long time, and I was there. And so it was incredibly exciting. It had this amazing insurgent energy. And then within 6 months it was in receivership, and it was, oh my God, and then I got transferred to Wellington, and it was really exciting times. I'm lucky that I had a little part of broadcasting history. That I was part of a little part of it. It was cool. I was the lowliest ranked journalist in the entire operation, and one of my main jobs was to sit there and listen to the scanner, and oh, there's a fire and blah blah blah, and what was really annoying back in those days was that Steve Bloxham, who was vastly experienced, would walk past the desk and just hear something on the scanner, which I'd completely missed, sitting there avidly focusing on the scanner. Ooh, what's on? And he'd just hear it from the other side of the office. So I was learning the craft, learning the very basic building blocks of making news and current affairs TV at an exciting time. I can remember once cutting it a wee bit too fine. It was all tape to tape back then, and I can remember being in the edit suite with the editor, and it was the lead story. And we'd assured the Auckland director we were going to make our slot, but it got to the point where we were still putting in the last shot. John Hawkesby had started reading the intro, and the Auckland director's on the comms said, "Where's the story?" And from memory, John Hawkesby was reading the intro very slowly in order that we could have a little more time to get the item cut, and then Wellington, roll live, boom, and we made it. And that is exhilarating. Fair Go is about bringing bullies to justice. That's probably too big a word, but it's about not letting bullies get away with stuff. And you know, I wasn't bullied as a kid, but I've got a pretty strong sense of justice and doing what's right. And Fair Go allowed me to express that. Fair Go has, you know, it's a tradition, it's got a spirit, it's got an ethos. It's a brand, and it means something. So even now in this fragmented media environment, it's still a really powerful brand. And when you pick up the phone, you can hear the intake of breath at the other end of the line. And there's very few media outlets that still carry that grunt. And you have to use that responsibly and be careful with it. But doing Fair Go was really natural for me. I was able to 100% buy into what Fair Go's about, and I loved it. Not the Sunday we see now. So this is 1997, and it was presented by a guy called Mike Hosking. You might remember, you might know him. This was his first TV gig. Mike was a lot older back then, a lot older. Double-breasted blue suits, shoes you could see your face in. It was sort of a young fogey, and this was his first TV gig. And we were all complete novices, but we were a young, energetic team, terrified of going over budget. We were so abstemious and stingy that at the end of the, I don't know, 26, 30, I don't know how many episodes, we could make 3 full hours extra. We made 3, I mean, that must be some sort of indie production record. I'm very proud of that show. I feel as though it left a trace, it left a history. People still remember that. Oh, right, Backchat. It was a strong show, and we did some really good stuff, and it caused a lot of conversations in the arts world with which I was very acquainted. I know there was a lot of people who thought it was too newsy and current affairs, and it should be more kaleidoscope. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologise for that. And the most bittersweet moment of Backchat was accepting an award, one of several awards we got after the show had been canned. So that was bittersweet. That really sticks out in my memory. It was a good way to end, but at the time I really would have preferred not to end. Jeepers, stepping into Kevin Milne's shoes, not that I did directly. Ali Moore came on. There was a sort of an awkward 3-headed thing for a while there. It was myself and Ali and Kevin on set, which was a bit weird. We had this strange, massive desk. It was an odd desk. And Kevin's departure was awkward for us all. And I won't go into the internal TVNZ politics, dreary. It was a difficult time. I can remember thinking, "Oh, that hurt. I hope we're filming this." Because it was great telly. And my self-defense technique was a bit rubbish. I just stood there and got hit in the nose 3 times. But he didn't really hit me that hard. He hit me hard enough to make my nose bleed, which is not saying very much because Harcourts are bleeders. So he hit me just hard enough to make it look good on telly without doing much damage. I had a bit of concussion, had a fairly unpleasant ear thing going on. But it was an incredibly stupid thing for him to do. I don't know why, I've got a suspicion, but it would be defamatory, so I'm not going to say it. And it gave me some fantastic television. It put his business and him on the front page. I was on the front page of the Herald for 4 days running, which seemed a little bit disproportionate. But what was satisfying to me was that his business got put on the TV and in the media in a big way, and that was a good thing. That was a very good thing. He was ultimately prosecuted. His business pleaded guilty to various Fair Trading Act charges, and he paid a fairly substantial fine and some compensation. And I'm pretty proud of that. It was a hard choice. It was a very hard choice. But I just had a sense that my face didn't fit anymore. It was time to move on. I mean, I turned 50 last year. Ultimately, it was just time to move on. I didn't feel as though I should stick around. I wanted to go off and do something else, and so I have.